Welcome everybody to today's Facebook Live, and today I'm going to be talking about virtual summits being dead. So this is going to be a session where you can explore if virtual summits are going to be a good fit for your business. So the headline virtual summits are dead is to grab your attention, but I want to give you something else to think about, because if you're thinking of hosting a virtual summit, what I'm going to do in this session is I'm going to talk you through the differences between a virtual summit and a live online conference. But first, let me give you a little bit of background about myself. Okay, so in 2013, I've been running my business for 8 years, and in 2013, I hosted my first virtual summit. And I did what most people do when they bring their virtual summit together. It was a bit broad, it wasn't niched enough, and it wasn't focused enough. But that was the first summit I did back in 2013. So just to give a little bit of perspective, here's my story. Now, I know a few of you have heard it before, but I want to share it with you again because I think it's important for you to hear the transformation that I experienced and how I stepped into the world of virtual summits, so you can see that I actually know what it is I'm talking about. Okay, so I started my business, and I was told that speaking on the stage was one of the most lucrative things that you could do. It would position you as the expert, you get great authority. And to be honest, I was very, very nervous about speaking live. I actually do not enjoy speaking in front of live audiences. I have a lot of friends who are professional speakers and have the dilemma the other way around. They love speaking on the stage, but they do not like speaking online. So I did this journey like a lot of us do. Started off at Toastmasters, and I still wasn't confident. I was there for a year and a half, enjoyed it, learned loads, brilliant organization. If you are starting out on your journey of speaking, I can't recommend Toastmasters highly enough. So I started off at Toastmasters, did some speaking gigs around the UK, predominantly unpaid speaking gigs. And I did it because I was told it's what I should be doing. So I then joined the Professional Speaking Association in London, and I spent a year there. And I got asked to speak at an event, quite a prestigious event I can't remember where it was, in Bedford, I think it was. And it was for the Association of British Psychologists to do a talk for them. So I was in the hotel, just about to nod off to sleep, and said goodnight to my partner on the phone, as you do. And then suddenly I got this massive rush of adrenaline. And I actually felt that I was going mad. And I didn't realize at the time, but I was actually in the midst of a serious panic attack. I was pacing up and down. I couldn't keep still. It was so bad, I thought I was going to have to call an ambulance. And what happened in the end was I found myself taking comfort in the bathtub, curled up in the fetal position, because the panic attack had completely taken over. So I decided from that point that I would never, ever speak at a live event ever again. The stress just wasn't worth it. Now, I'm an incredibly resilient person, and if something breaks, if I can't do it, I have a tendency naturally, because of my dyslexia, to find a way around. So after the panic attack, after making this decision not to speak live ever again, on the stage that is, a couple of months later, someone came to me and they said, "Wendy, will you speak on a virtual summit in the States?" And I thought, oh, actually, that could be quite interesting, because I'm not on the stage and I've got the comfort of my office and I've got my notes and no one can see me. I thought, oh, okay, I'll give it a go. And so it was a it was a virtual summit for therapists, and it was the first of its kind, so it was extremely popular. So we had our session, and in the space of 45 minutes, I generated about 140 plus leads, and I could not believe it. From the previous 5 years or so, speaking live on the stage and hating it, you know, I only ever generated a couple of sales, but I did it because I was told that that is what I was meant to be doing. So from that moment, I thought, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I want to host virtual summits. So that's what I did. I developed a business around virtual summits. Now, this year, I hosted a live online conference, and there is a big difference between a virtual summit and a live online conference, and I'm going to talk you through in a second what the differences are, because I really want this session to help you to make a decision whether it's a virtual summit that is a good fit for your business or whether it is a live online conference. Really important. So this year, as I said, I held the online conference 1,000 Women, and technology has come along so much in the last couple of years that we are now able to engage with a live online audience. Now, this means that we can use a tool called Zoom. I've never said, I'm tripping over my own words. It's called Zoom, basically, and it is an online conference software. It's quite cheap, but what Zoom allows you to do is have an interview with the expert, but also then to bring in your audience and to engage with them as well. So you can have 50 people on a screen. You can have an interview, and then you can have members of your audience ask specific questions of the expert and the person that you're interviewing. That is incredible. It is a massive development for us as coaches, consultants, you know, people who are really in business to create big shifts and changes for people. Being able to engage with your audience that way is incredible. So it's something that you need to think about embracing for your business. So I wanted to talk about, you know, the difference between a virtual summit and a live online conference to help you make that decision. So I've got some sticky notes here. It helps with my thought process. This is why I don't like doing live. I can't get away with actually going onto the stage and actually having a resource which really helps me manage my dyslexia. This is great. So let's have a look at some of the fundamental differences between a virtual summit and an online conference. So virtual summits are primarily focused in on list building. So they can be perceived as being a bit cold, and they've also got a bit of a name for themselves as being a bit icky, because people know that people that are bringing together virtual summits are after the list. They're after the contacts on those other people's lists. So virtual summits these days have got a bit of a nicky feeling about it. And I don't know if you've ever been asked to speak on a virtual summit, and then you're interviewed, you have a conversation, and they go, yeah, you're going to be brilliant, you're a great fit, rah, rah, rah. And then they go, but you've got to have 5,000 people on your list. And I'm glad to say I've had none of those calls. I don't know why people, well, maybe people don't do that because they know that I would be really pissed off, to be fair, because what that says to me is that you're not interested in your audience, really. You're just interested in feeding off my list of contacts. Now, I have done this because I haven't understood that there is a better way and there's been a natural progression. So that's what I'm going to share with you. Although I wasn't coming from a nicky position of you have to have 5,000 people on your list. I don't know who's teaching this stuff, but it is rubbish. So virtual summits primarily focused in on list building, and they're also primarily focused in on selling the product of the event. Now, I don't know about you, but people's lives are overwhelmed. They've got so much going on. And I work in the online training space. I know that a lot of people who buy that product won't even engage with it. So I have a bit of an ethical dilemma going on there in terms of using a virtual summit to sell products. But that's just my own stuff going on. But I think when you work in the transformational space and you want shifts and changes for people, you want to work with them to get them as quickly as possible. Whereas this doesn't really enforce that message. So virtual summits, primarily about list building and selling the recordings. So live online conferences on the opposite side are focused in on, firstly, engagement, and then building the community, which naturally happens at the same time. The focus is lastly actually on the list. Then it's about moving people into a product and an offer after the event. So it's a much more community-based and an emotional way of presenting yourself online. So virtual summits are focused on list building. That is their main objective, list building and to sell the recordings, versus live on conferences, which are about engagement, community. The list is last, the focus is on the quality of the content and the information, and then moving people into a product. Now, this is a massive one for me, and this is something that a lot of virtual summit experts keep secret, that they don't necessarily share with you how much work is going to go into hosting a virtual summit. So let's have a look at the differences between a virtual summit and a live online conference. I mean, you can obviously tell which way I am lending already, because, you know, I've been doing virtual summits since 2013. I've hosted my first live online conference, and I'm on an absolute mission now to bring live online conferences into the forefront. And this is one of the main reasons why, apart from all the icky stuff that you hear around virtual summits and list building and the way they are managed, this is a biggie. And it's about the amount of time it's going to take for you to bring a virtual summit together. So I was listening to a guy last year, and he was saying that it took him a year to bring his virtual summit together. And that's because he's focused on the size of his list rather than thinking about the engagement within his community. So his focus has been about elevating his authority, which is a good thing, by the way, but also selling the recordings rather than moving people into a program. A year to organize, honestly, I couldn't do that. That's not my bag. It should not take that long. So if you think of traditional summits now, when you see them, they've got between 30 and 60 speakers. I'm not joking. Okay, I interview a lot of people and I enjoy it. But if I had the task of interviewing 30 to 60 speakers, I think I would have a panic attack, because it's an awful lot of work. So with a virtual summit, what you have to do is you have to firstly find your speakers, and then you have to have all the organization with managing those meetings. You then have to record the sessions. You then have to upload the sessions. So basically, you are looking at hundreds of hours of work to bring that virtual summit together. And you would have to hire someone probably to help you manage it. I've always managed virtual summits myself, but that's my thing. You know, it's my core business, so you would expect me to have that nailed down by now. Now, on the flip side, if you hold a live online conference, I personally am not attracted to a virtual summit that has 30 to 60 speakers on it. It just sends the wrong signals to me, and I get turned off instantly. The nice thing about live online conferences is that you can pick a select group of people who are, I need to say this in a diplomatic way without it sounding bad. Maybe I should just make it sound bad. You'll notice on a lot of virtual summits, it'll be the same people speaking. Now, with a live online conference, you have the opportunity to make it a much smaller group and much more exclusive. by doing that in a live space, you get, the energy is completely different to if you were pre-recording a session. The energy is completely different. The speakers turn up, they turn up with much better information. You're listening actively. So if you're doing a good job as the host, you can pull out more premium content from them because they're actually in front of a live audience. So they're going to be more willing and more likely to give you that premium content rather than all the other stuff that you hear, which is just service stuff that they talk about all the time. Anyway, so you'll be focusing on a select group of people who provide higher premium content, and also what you do, which virtual summits do not allow you to do. You can engage with a live online audience. So you can invite, I think on Zoom it's 50 people. I've never done any more than 50. It would be interesting to see how you would handle more than 50, but you can open up the floor, you can invite those people in, and it is great fun. It changes the energy of the space of the event. So, oops, that was about virtual summits taking a long time to organize. A shitload of work, basically, excuse my French, that you don't need as a solo entrepreneur. You want to cut out all of that and give a much better experience for your audience. And that would be focused on providing a live experience. So the live experience, if you really knuckle down, you could bring it together in about 4 weeks, because all you're doing is identifying your speakers, saying we're going live, but then bosh, you can go straight into a live online conference. The thing is not to overthink these things, but virtual summits require a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, a lot of negotiation, and a lot of technical work, which you don't really want. Another difference between a virtual summit and an online conference, a live online conference, is that the virtual summits are cold. You know, they are based through using email marketing to send the message. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because email marketing also underpins a live online conference, but there's nothing in between for there to be that warm connection of learning and a shared experience, and watching the growth from the person that's joined you throughout that event. Virtual summits don't do that. Some people do on their virtual summits hold live panel sessions for the experts, but again, it's for the experts. It's not for your audience, it's for the experts, and it's for the host, again, to facilitate that and get credibility from it and everything that's associated with that. That's not a bad thing, but what I don't like is not being able to engage with an online audience, because we now have the tools to do that and it's not expensive. So live, oh my God, I've got a group of sticky notes here. Live online conferences, they're a warmer experience. And for us peeps that work with transformation and we want our clients to get changes, it's essential that we give them that opportunity and that experience to engage and ask questions. Because what that does is it puts the training in context for them, which is really important. I'm getting excited, so I'm talking really quickly. I have to remind myself to slow down now. So the question at the beginning was, I mean, my statement is virtual summits are dead. They're not dead, but they have a place. And I think we have moved on in technology enough now for us to embrace live online conferences over virtual summits. And the question at the beginning was to find out which one is the better fit for you. So I would say, if you're thinking of bringing together a virtual summit or a live online conference, the way I would look at it for you to be able to make the decision is, do you want to provide people with a cold or a warm experience? And I think for us, hands down, every time it will be the warm, engaged experience. I think virtual summits definitely have a place, but I think they are for the internet marketing space. So you're talking things like podcasts, social media, list building, affiliate marketing. that sort of bubble of expertise, because they're the people that hold the online space, and they're used to affiliate marketing and they are used to delivering in this way. Whereas we want more personal transformation. We want bigger results for our clients that aren't necessarily financial. You know, when you see these summits that are out there that have got 36 to 60 people on them, they're relying on heavily on affiliate marketing. Whereas a live online conference, it's not relying on that model. And to be honest, affiliate marketing, if you're not used to doing it, you need an affiliate manager. It's another couple of £1,000. Then you've got all the advertising on top of that, which is another couple of £1,000. You're already running at a loss. I have spoken to countless women that have bought online conferences together, and you know, they've got hardly any sign-ups. The speakers have been difficult, and they'll never do one again, which is a real shame. So live online conferences are for coaches, consultants, trainers, people that want a transformational change with their audience. So I am going to be running a new masterclass next Thursday. If you want to jump on it, I have left the details in the sign-up box in the chat box, so you can just go along and join up, and I will talk much more in detail about how to host your first wildly profitable live online conference in just 4 weeks. Now, by profitable, this could mean many things. It can be money, it can mean profitable in terms of the experiences that people also have on that event. So I just wanted to make that clear. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take any questions that people have, and I will be more than happy to answer them for you. I really appreciate that I can see a number of you have been here, have been on since the beginning, which is absolutely awesome. And yeah, so pop your questions down if you've got any questions. I will do a bit of multitasking now because this is streaming across 5 of my pages. So I have to see if I can pull out questions. Doesn't matter how big or small your question is. Well, I could, that was funny. I could hear myself in, what do you call it when you hear yourself in another room? So I think Wendy just said that's reassuring. Yeah, it is reassuring, Wendy, because you see, you know, when you see these big events, you just think, well, why would I bother? Because, you know, that's not my style. I don't want to how I do it. It feels icky. You do not need to do that. Just pick a select group of people that you want to work with to come together to make it an absolutely awesome event. From the 1,000 Women Summit habit live online conference that I just held, I'm still working in collaboration with those other women. So, you know, the experience doesn't just stop there. If you get the right people and you collaborate with the right people, your relationships will grow past the point of that event. Not with everybody. You know, there's some people I'll probably never speak to again. But there are a few that Trish Springsteen, I did a radio show with Trish last night, 2 o'clock in the morning. And she's somebody that was one of the experts on 1,000 Women. So relationships blossom and they grow. Whereas on virtual summits, honestly, you are so busy in trying to sort everything out that it's very hard actually to move those relationships past the point of the actual event, because normally you're pretty stressed out by the time and burnt out by the time it comes to the end of it. There was something I was going to say then, which was important, but I can't remember what it was, and I haven't got my back button, so I obviously can't remind myself of what it was. Okay, so if no one's got any questions, what I'm going to do is thank you very much for staying with me. It's an important topic. If you're thinking of bringing a virtual summit together, I would really seriously suggest that you look at doing a live online conference. Jump on my next masterclass, which is happening next Thursday. I am going to be running exclusive training for 6 women to bring a live online conference together, and that will be facilitated for the month, so November, December, when you've got quiet periods, and then for you to go live January, February with your own live online conference. So if you're interested in finding out more about that exclusive premium training, just let me know and just send me a DM and we can have a chat about that. Okay, so I am going to, let me just jump across the screens once again, and I am going to close down and wish you well. I can see a comment, but I can't see what page that is coming up on. Multitasking, it's never a good thing online. All right then, honeybees, I'm going to love and leave you, and I will see you online.